State of Decay 2 is a survival zombie game, acting as a follow-up to its prequel holding the same name. The game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world overrun with zombies. Alongside his companion, the player must survive and build his own community, gathering and managing resources. The game is a completely open world, allowing the player to roam and interact with other NPCs freely. In addition, up to 3 players can join, allowing a co-op online mode. The main goal of the game is to build and expand your base. This can be done by scouting for resources, including building materials, medicine, ammo, and weapons. The main enemies in the game are the zombies. In addition to normal zombies, further updates of the game introduced special zombies with greater abilities. Fighting is mostly melee, with the ability to use guns from time to time. Overall, State of Decay is a great example of a simple idea done right and later perfected with the developers' constant updates. Back 4 Blood is a first-person zombie shooter game. The game takes huge influence from Left 4 Dead, borrowing a lot of elements from the game. Back 4 Blood takes place in a post-apocalyptic world swarmed by zombie-like creatures known as the Ridden. You play as one of a group of survivors trying to survive this mess. Just like its spiritual successor, the game offers a cooperative mode, allowing up to 4 players to fight off hordes of zombies in different locations. The game features up to 8 predefined playable characters with different abilities and stats. New to the game is the cards feature. These random cards offer the player a roguelike experience, changing gameplay features on every level. Overall, while the game doesn't meet the classic Left 4 Dead greatness, it's still a great co-op game to play with friends and family on a Good Friday night.
Over here.
Dead Rising 4 is an action-adventure zombie game. The game is the 4th and final installment of the well-known Dead Rising series. Dead Rising 4 acts as a reboot, introducing the series to new players. Following the events of the first game, Frank is back to investigate a new zombie outbreak back at Willamette. Now Frank must fight his way both for clearing his name and pitching a new story as a journalist. Just like the previous games in the series, the player takes control of Frank fighting hordes of zombies. With whatever comes at his hands, you can craft new weapons with the right blueprints and the use of items scattered all around the stages. Different from the previous games, the time limit counter was completely removed except for a few time-restricted missions. Leveling is also available, allowing the player to upgrade his abilities through a skill tree. To wrap it all, Dead Rising 4 might be a good introduction for newcomers, especially if you're into brainless brawlers.
This won't leave any marks.
Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse is an action-adventure game focusing on fun gameplay and hilarious dialogues. Different from most games on this list, Stubbs the Zombie gives the player the opportunity to play from a zombie perspective. You play as Stubbs, a former salesman who turned into a zombie. Now he must turn the cities upside down, transforming people into zombies and delivering chaos all over the place. The game is entirely played from a third-person perspective, where the goal is to attack other humans either by knocking them down or turning them into allies zombies. In addition, you can control other hostile enemies such as military and policemen using your detached hand. The game was originally released on the OG Xbox, but received an HD port for modern Dayz consoles, including upgraded visuals and modern control layouts. Overall, Stubbs is a pretty funny game, not taking itself too seriously. Players with a good sense of humor will find themselves enjoying this kind of game and coming back for more every time.
Sit down! I can't walk! Hey, stop choking me!
Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is a first-person survival horror game. It marks the 7th main entry in the Resident Evil series. Different from the previous action-oriented games Resident Evil 5 and 6, Resident Evil 7 focuses more on the survival horror elements, favoring discovering the environment and solving puzzles. The player takes control of Ethan, an ordinary guy looking for his missing wife. Despite Ethan being a mere civilian, he can use different guns to protect himself from different threats, including zombie-like creatures known as the Molded, the estate's hostile residents, and the frightening Baker family. The game completely focuses on horror elements, offering slow-paced gameplay and giving the player time to slowly discover and unravel the town mysteries. Zombie Army Trilogy is a third-person zombie shooter game. Think of this game as a straight sniper elite game with zombies. The story starts with Hitler on the verge of losing the war against the Allies. Desperate with the outcomes of the war, Hitler launches the last plan, Plan Z, unleashing an army of Nazi zombies. The game can be played offline solo or online co-op with up to 4 players on the same game. 3 story campaigns are available to take on, as well as the Endless Horde mode. Up to 8 playable characters are available from the beginning, including males and females. Also, you can choose weapon type and explosive to take on with you at the beginning of every level. The level's design is decent, offering a dark atmosphere with an almost black and white color palette and a foggy environment. Overall, this is a great game, especially if you enjoyed the Sniper Elite series. This is exactly the same concept, replacing soldiers with zombies. Dying Light 2: Stay Human is an open-world survival horror game. It acts as a direct sequel to Dying Light, following the same storyline. The game takes place 22 years after the events of its predecessor. The player takes control of Aiden, an infected survivor looking for his missing sister. Visiting the new city Vilder, Aiden must take on missions and quests from various factions across the city, struggling for power and resources. Just like the previous title, the game is entirely seen from a first-person perspective with a huge emphasis on parkour and melee combat. During the day, the city is mostly populated by human factions and survivors. The real action occurs at night, when everyone hides inside and zombie lurks on the streets. During your journey, you can use and modify weapons at ease. Killing zombies and completing missions will gain you EXP points, which can be exploited to unlock new skills and moves. Overall, the game did a great job improving some of the previous title mechanics and enhancing the gameplay with new content.
How you doing? You're dead!
Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is a first-person shooter game. It serves as the 17th installment of the Call of Duty series. While the main campaign is your typical hard-boiled military shooter, the mighty zombie mode is what made this game appear on this list. The zombie campaign takes place in a Nazi facility in Poland following the event of the Dark Ether saga. The player chooses from a selection of predefined playable characters from the Black Ops series. The game map is mostly a reboot of the same zombie map on Call of Duty World at War, with some minor changes here and there. The goal is just as simple as the early zombie modes, fighting off zombie waves and moving from area to area, collecting and upgrading weapons. The fun is mostly double playing with friends. Unfortunately, the only way to do it is online since the co-op split screen is not available on Cold War. Dayz is a zombie survival game, with a huge emphasis on multiplayer. The game takes place in a fictional Soviet city called Chernobyl. Following the event of a mysterious plague spreading in the city, the player must survive by acquiring resources while fighting both zombies and other survivors. The player starts the game with only a few clothes and resources in his hand. He must scavenge the huge map looking for food, water, and medicine. Interacting with other players is crucial as it can save you from several situations by trading, cooperating, and exchanging information. Overall, Dayz is a well-built MMO hybrid game. If you're looking for a fun multiplayer game with an interesting community, Dayz might be your next favorite online game. The Walking Dead Telltale Definitive Series is a compilation of story-driven point-and-click adventure games. The game includes all 4 seasons, DLC, and mission spin-off all in one with remastered graphics and enhanced frame rates. The game starts with Lee, the main protagonist of the first season. As Lee was taken to custody in a police car, the vehicle crashes after hitting a walker. Our hero finds himself forced to run off and face this new apocalyptic world where walkers lurk around every corner. Unlike many interactive adventure games that focus on solving puzzles, the game takes a different route that focuses more on dialogue. Making choices here will affect the course of the game, and believe me, the game will force you to make some difficult choices in terms of story. This game is a masterpiece. It feels like a real zombie apocalypse.
I did whatever I had to do to protect them.
Sometimes it's not enough.
Unturned is a post-apocalyptic survival zombie game. To my surprise, Unturned was developed by a single developer using blocky Minecraft-like graphics. The game has 2 main modes, offline and online. Playing online co-op with a friend is hugely advised since it's so much fun compared to going solo. The game throws you into a zombie outbreak, scavenging for resources and weapons while building your own bases. At first, the player starts discovering the area and collecting useful items and weapons. Also, you'll need to keep an eye on the food and thirst meter since these two have a huge impact on gameplay, including how fast you can heal. Gathering crafting materials is also crucial for survival, as you can build and enforce shelters with it. Despite the somewhat simple graphic design, Unturned managed to make it up with the amazing gameplay and the dedicated online community populating the game to date.